Tonight, the return of classes renews the importance of school zone safety. A former hockey coach loses an appeal of his day parole suspension. And the Saskatchewan NDP questions the province's immigration plan.
Live from our studios in Regina, this is CTV News.
Good evening. For tens of thousands of students in Saskatchewan, the bell has rung on the first day of school. And while seeing their friends may have been the focus for the students, for parents and drivers, it's safety. Sierra D'Souza Butts has more on how the community is reminding everyone about being cautious in school zones.
Some students are eagerly walking into a new school year.
My first day, but it's my last year here, so I'm really excited, but I'm starting high school soon.
Others, not so much.
I mean, it is school, so you can't be too excited.
With more foot and vehicle traffic returning to school grounds, drivers are being urged to be mindful of road safety signs, especially in school zones, including posted speed limits, pedestrian crossings, and no U-turn signs.
It's very key because the safety of the kids come first, and of course, as long as parents, when we know that kids are safe on the bus, it makes it easier for us.
SGI says it's important for drivers to be alert, adding the faster a vehicle is moving, the greater risk of injury or fatality in the event of a collision.
We really want to encourage people to know what the rules are in your community because they differ, and if you're traveling outside of your hometown, take some time to know what the rules are in the communities you're passing through so you're not speeding through any school zones.
Regina police say students have been hit in school zones before, making it imperative for parents to know where to park during peak drop-off and pickup hours.
The reality is we have thousands of kids every day that are getting on buses, that are getting dropped off by parents, and everything that we can do to make it safer for them, it's important for us to do that, because if we have parents that are parking in no stopping zones, no parking zones, then kids end up walking between vehicles, they're walking into roadways, it limits sight lines.
With the rules of the road in effect all year round in Regina, youth are hoping to get to and from school safely.
Anywhere in the city, make sure you're going the speed limit no matter what, because there could be a kid or there could be an animal.
SGI says speeding in school zones can lead to hefty fines, with tickets starting at $170 and increasing by $4 for every kilometer per hour over the limit. Sierra D'Souza Butts, CTV News, Regina.
As students head back to school, a new study is shedding light on some of the challenges children are facing. CTV's Laura Woodward on the troubling trends putting many at a disadvantage.
A new report from Children First Canada has identified the top 10 threats to kids in this country. They include poverty, violence, bullying, and vaccine-preventable illnesses. According to Statistics Canada, 71% of teens say they've been bullied in the past year, and only 1 in 4 feel supported by their teachers.
I think many kids who head back into school face significant impacts around their mental health and well-being and the fear of bullying.
Children First Canada is urging the federal government to create a national strategy and appoint an independent commissioner to address the 10 threats they say kids are facing.
It's appalling that a country as wealthy and as democratic as ours is letting so many of our kids fall behind, and failing to take action today will really create long-term impacts on the development and future prosperity of our nation.
CTV News has reached out to Ottawa for comment but did not hear back by deadline. The report noting Saskatchewan's drop in mental well-being. This graph showing the number of youth reporting good mental health falling.
I saw the headline. I haven't read the report.
Saskatchewan's Minister of Health says the government is focused on connecting kids to mental health services.
Meeting children where they're at, understanding their needs, and then providing the supports, whether that's at school, whether that's in the healthcare system.
As the excitement of back to school fades, psychiatrist Tamara Hintz says the stress of school can sink in.
One tip I always give to parents is, is this information that you just want me to hear, or is this information that you want help with? I think that's a really important distinction, because sometimes kids just want to vent, they just want a sounding board, and as parents, our first instinct is always to help with problems, make problems go away.
She says keeping the line of communication open between home and school can go a long way. Laura Woodward, CTV News, Saskatoon.
A man from southeast Saskatchewan is dead after an ATV collision over the weekend. It happened on Sunday on a range road near Arcola when police say a group of 3 ATVs were traveling together, 2 of them colliding. One driver was pronounced dead at the scene. He's been identified as a 66-year-old man from Estevan. His family has been notified. The other 2 drivers were not hurt. RCMP continue to investigate. A former Regina Pats assistant coach convicted of sexually assaulting a teen under his care lost an appeal in court today to have a suspension of his day parole removed. Jacob Carr explains why.
Former Regina Pats coach Bernie Lynch is back behind bars after violating his day parole conditions for a second time. Lynch was sentenced to a 3-year prison term in January of 2024 after being found guilty of sexually and physically assaulting a 17-year-old player staying at his apartment while attending a Regina Pats hockey school in 1988. The player came forward to police in 2021. Soon after his sentence, Lynch was granted day parole, but it was revoked 5 weeks later when staff at his community-based residential facility became concerned he had developed an obsession with a younger offender who lived there. Lynch would later get a second chance at day parole, making strides according to the Parole Board of Canada while they considered Lynch's application for full parole. But on May 26th, his parole officer got a call from the RCMP. The victim of the original assault shared that Lynch had sent them a friend request via Facebook. Police corroborated the victim's statement by reviewing photos from their phone, and Lynch was arrested that same day. Lynch has said the friend request was accidental, that he was researching some hockey associates on Facebook for a book he's writing and saw the victim was a mutual friend. But Lynch also admitted in a June 2025 interview to searching the victim's profile repeatedly for months after hearing from associates that the victim was posting information that may have been slanderous or a breach of privacy. The Correctional Services of Canada recommended that Lynch be released again with added restrictions, including more intensive monitoring of his calls, messages, and internet use. But even with those safeguards in place, the Parole Board of Canada deemed that Lynch was too much of a risk to the community. Jacob Carr, CTV News, Regina.
Moose Jaw Police has charged a 63-year-old man with fraud and money laundering after a lengthy investigation. On August the 29th, a search warrant was conducted on a residence in Moose Jaw where evidence was seized suggesting an online scam with victims across the country. The scam was getting people to send money via e-transfer or wire transfer for an online loan application on a fraudulent website. The man made his first court appearance today and is scheduled to reappear on Friday. Regina Police Service is looking to gauge public perception on the police force through a survey. What's known as the RPS Community Perception Survey is carried out once every 2 years and looks for feedback on topics related to police and crime in the city. The survey is done on behalf of Regina Police but is carried out by an independent group of researchers. Randomly selected participants will be contacted by phone over the next few weeks. The NDP says the Sask party is failing to get a fair deal for Saskatchewan when it comes to immigration. NDP MLA Nor Berkey says Saskatchewan's agreement only allows for 1,100 additional nominees through the immigrant nomination program. Additionally, our numbers are significantly low compared to New Brunswick, they say, and New Brunswick secured an extra 1,500 nominations. The NDP also claims Manitoba got a 2-year extension for work permits, with Saskatchewan failing to do so.
We are a really big promise compared to New Brunswick and that perspective of population. I think we deserve not only 1,100, we should be more. And you know, one thing more, we are the promise that we are not getting federal immigration very frequent as compared to Ontario, BC, and Quebec. We are such a promise that most of the people, they can't come here, but we need them.
Now, in a statement to CTV News, the province says Saskatchewan has received an additional 1,136 nominations for 2025, which represents a 31% increase from the initial allocation and 11% of the total additional allocations distributed to provinces and territories. Well, it's been about 14 months since Regina's Urgent Care Centre opened, and the facility is yet to operate 24 hours a day. That has many wondering if the centre under construction right now in Saskatoon will deal with a similar staffing issue. Keenan Sorkon has the details.
Construction for Saskatoon's urgent care centre is progressing with plans to open for next spring, but questions still remain about its hours of operation and who will work here.
If there's an opportunity to go 24/7 at some point, that's certainly something we would look at.
Jeremy Cockrell says until the staffing pool grows, people in Saskatoon shouldn't expect to see this urgent care centre at the site of the former Pleasant Hill School open around the clock. Instead, expect to see it open every day from 8 a.m. to 9:30 p.m.
In a time of limited staffing resources, we want to focus on where it's going to have the greatest patient impact. Those are those daytime hours, those 8 a.m. to 9:30 p.m.
In a statement, the NDP called it a broken promise by the Sask Party, not delivering service 24/7. After opening Regina's urgent care centre last July, with the expectation of being open 24 hours a day a few months later, the province has yet to reach that goal and announced in July the facility would be open from 8 a.m. to 9:30 after closing multiple times to accommodate staffing shortages.
The point is, we want to use our resources to best impact patients.
With construction moving on to mechanical and electrical work, this unique facility will eventually welcome mental health and addictions treatment for those who can't wait. But working alongside Attackagoup Cree Nation, the surrounding area will welcome students from SIIT, as well as a pharmacy, a daycare, and more addictions treatment spaces over the coming years.
I think it really is a testament to how a step in the way of reconciliation is really benefiting everyone, Indigenous and non-Indigenous people, in the way of services, in the way of opportunity.
The facility could open as early as May or June next year. Keenan Sorakan, CTV News, Saskatoon.
Sabine joins us for our first look at weather. She's cooled down after those hot conditions at the Labor Day Classic on Sunday, but it's really going to cool down tonight.
Yes, it really is. We're going to see those temperatures dip below seasonal very much so, and so much so we're seeing frost advisories, which I've already posted on social media. Many people have already let me know that how they feel about it. Not so much in parts of Regina or further south, but we are seeing them in areas just north of the Yorkton area, around Kamsack, Nipawin, Melfort, all expecting to see the lows tonight dip to very close to zero, if not right into the zero range, and stay in that area until tomorrow morning, just until about sunrise. So cooler temperatures, of course, could affect the crops, could affect your gardens and vegetables or whatever you may have out. So you may want to bring them in or cover them up, but it's not the last time we're going to see these very cool temperatures this week. So something to keep in mind there. Temperatures still below the average. We got up to about 19 degrees in Regina. The average is about 22. The low around this time of year is about 7 or 8 degrees. But like I said, we're going to see them dip even cooler than that tonight. And I'll have all the details coming up in your forecast. Lee?
Yes, a disclaimer for our viewers, Sabine, not responsible for the weather that we see. Regina Food Bank and the Greater Vancouver Food Bank are teaming up to give back to the community in a new partnership. Now, during the last week of August, about 90,000 pounds of food was redistributed between both food banks using freight trucks in an interprovincial trade. So Regina sent pulses and grains in exchange for Vancouver's fresh produce.
This is a new partnership. In fact, to the best of our knowledge, this sort of locally grown product being traded for more locally grown product, it's the first time it's ever happened in Canada. So we're really excited to do it. And part of the reason why we wanted to do it was to sort of show that it could be done, because there's lots of opportunity to expand this and do it across other locations across Canada.
Bailey says they are in discussions with other food banks across the country to begin similar initiatives. After 32 years of offering local news coverage in Regina, the Prairie Dog is calling it quits. In an email to their readers, the news outlet shared they'll be shutting down permanently at the end of September. The Prairie Dog and Planet S from Saskatoon both attempted an ad revenue campaign earlier this summer. They needed 50 ad spots filled and only received 3. The outlet thanks their readers for the years of support.
We so appreciate the support and love we got from our readers and our supporters, and from people who understood the value of what we do, not just as far as news stories, but as far as providing event information and covering arts and culture. And now that's gone, and I think it'll be missed.
There will be 4 more Prairie Dog Insiders published this month.
Greetings, everyone. Approximately 1,000 people are reported missing in the wilderness each year in Canada. Now a TV series is bringing attention to missing people in Saskatchewan, the search teams that work to find them, as well as tips on what to do if you find yourself in a similar situation. CTV's Hallie Mandrick tells us more on the show's production.
A Canadian docuseries has brought a film crew near Saskatoon to tell the stories of missing people and those who look for them.
We have a lot of Indigenous searchers who really know their business. They really know how to get out there and go into the forest or into wherever, swamps, whatever. And these are people off the land and they're from the land. And so they really know their stuff. And I think a lot of our people are quite proud of that.
Searchers tells the story of missing people through interviews and reenactments, but it also has a heavy focus on the search teams. A handful of those involved in the production have firsthand experience as searchers, including writer-director Corey Genro.
With our knowledge of searching, we bring a real sense of realism to the show. So what you're watching, the techniques, how they form up, how they search, how their head movements are, everything.
The series not only highlights Saskatchewan stories, but also the talented Saskatchewan filmmakers who lend their skills to the project.
And if you take a look around, you'll notice that we have a mixed bag of people here. We've got Indigenous people and others working together, quite successfully. So it's, I think it shows the diversity in the film industry in this province.
The production team is hopeful that viewers may learn some potentially life-saving information from the show.
I hope that people, when they're watching this show, can learn if they are in the wilderness, they do get lost. There's certain things that they can do that could mean that there's higher probability of them being rescued.
And Genro says the significance of these stories is never lost upon his team.
Our shooting, we always start with a prayer with the cast and crew and just remind people that these are actually people who are loved not only by their family, but by their communities. And their communities are going to be watching. So we have to all come from it, from your heart, come from a good place.
For Indigenous Circle, I'm Hallie Mandrick.
If you have a story you would like to see in this segment, here's how to reach us. You can contact me by email, and you can also watch past episodes and segments of Indigenous Circle on our CTV Regina and CTV Saskatoon websites.
Indigenous Circle, brought to you in part by Saskatchewan Indigenous Enterprise Foundation, growing the First Nation entrepreneurial spirit.
Still ahead, will a U.S. appeals court decision impact Donald Trump's tariffs? And a meeting between Russia, China, and India's leaders has the world watching. A U.S. federal appeals court has thrown much of Donald Trump's tariff strategy into uncertainty, saying his Liberation Day and fentanyl-related tariffs exceeded his powers. Now President Trump wants the Supreme Court to overturn that decision quickly. CTV's Rachel Aiello has more on where things stand.
The start of September marked the end of Canada's counter-tariffs on U.S. goods covered under CUSMA. But today, Donald Trump showed no signs of reciprocating. The U.S. president is preparing to defend his global tariff regime before the Supreme Court.
Because without the tariffs, this country is in serious, serious trouble.
Trump standing by his trade tactics comes as one cabinet minister asserted today that despite dropping retaliatory tariffs, Prime Minister Mark Carney hasn't put his elbows down.
Well, there's no capitulation. Let's be clear. Zero. Never, never. That's not happening. We're trying to match exactly what the Americans have done.
And trade talks are ongoing.
It's a complicated negotiation.
That negotiation will be a central focus as Carney convenes his cabinet in the GTA. Starting tomorrow, the Prime Minister and his front bench will be planning fall priorities, from preparing for the CUSMA review and supporting tariff-impacted sectors to fast-tracking big projects. To that end, today, Internal Trade Minister Chrystia Freeland hosted a Made in Canada summit at a Hamilton steel plant to try and generate domestic investment in major transportation projects. Rachel Aiello, CTV News, Ottawa.
Indigenous leaders from across the country will meet in Winnipeg this week for the Assembly of First Nations annual meeting.
I look forward to chiefs having those discussions and to hearing their thoughts, their views.
The annual General Assembly will begin tomorrow with the major projects law expected to dominate the discussions. The AFN's national chief says it will be an opportunity for chiefs to plan the response to the recently passed Building Canada Act, which allows the federal government to fast-track major projects. Alberta's premier is rewriting its order directing a book ban in school libraries. The Alberta government says the order was designed to remove books with explicit sexual content, but an email sent by the education minister today says officials should hold off. The pause comes after the premier criticized the Edmonton School Division for a list that included many classics which she says does not follow the government's intention. Donald Trump may find himself isolated with a key security summit underway in China. It's attended by 3 of his political rivals from China, Russia, and India. The U.S. president will have to deal with striking images of the 3 men acting like the best of buddies. Mike Lukatour has more.
The meeting of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization is the biggest diplomatic event of the year in China, and many see it as a way for President Xi Jinping to rally countries who have become the target of U.S. President Donald Trump. Preparations have been meticulous for what is being called China's largest military parade ever. Celebrations commemorating the end of the Second World War will also showcase new drones, hypersonic missiles, and fighter jets. Perhaps more important are the guests who will be watching the display of military might. Kim Jong-un arrived on his armored train, a rare foreign trip for the North Korean leader.
Xi Jinping has been promoting this idea since 2017 that China will become the new global hegemon in what he refers to as the community of the common destiny of mankind.
Kim is expected to stand shoulder to shoulder at the ceremony with Russia's president. Vladimir Putin has been attending 2 days of meetings where China's president praised the 2 countries' lasting good neighborly friendship. President Xi also talked about establishing a model of mutually beneficial cooperation and win-win relations between major powers.
Well, I think Xi is succeeding in presenting an alternative to the multilateral rules-based order that we've lived under for the last 80 years.
That summit included Narendra Modi, the Prime Minister of India, a country dealing with 50% tariffs from the U.S. And some believe China is trying to take advantage of the current global climate.
China is putting on a strong display of strength and is making itself out to be a responsible stakeholder in global affairs.
President Donald Trump was asked about Russia and China forming an axis against the U.S. He says he's not concerned at all about it. Mike Lukatour, CTV News, Ottawa.
Afghanistan's Taliban government is looking to the international community for help after an earthquake killed at least 1,400 people. The United Nations says the death toll could rise dramatically. The current numbers from the Taliban are only from 1 province. The 6.0 magnitude earthquake struck several provinces in the country's east, flattening villages and trapping people in homes. The difficult terrain is hampering rescue and relief efforts. Several countries are going to pledge aid to humanitarian agencies in the region. Meanwhile, in Sudan, an entire village destroyed by a landslide. Rebel group, the Sudan Liberation Movement Army, says it may have killed 1,000 people. The group is appealing to the UN and international aid groups for assistance in recovering bodies. The landslide happened yesterday in a mountainous area of Darfur after heavy rainfall. And late actor Greene is being remembered as a trailblazing talent who inspired a generation of Indigenous actors.
Oh, buffalo, Tatanka, buffalo, buffalo.
Greene's management team says he died yesterday after a long illness. He had a decades-long career on the big and small screen, earning international fame with his Oscar-nominated portrayal of Kicking Bird in 1990's Dancing with Wolves. You saw that at the beginning of the video. He also had roles in The Green Mile and The Twilight Saga and won a Grammy for Best Spoken Word Album for Children. Greene was 73. Coming up, a different kind of Labor Day classic, classic cars at the Show and Shine, after the break.
Hope you get a great first day of school. Get your Wednesday started with us as we take flight at the Aviation Museum. You won't want to miss it.
News, weather, and traffic. It's everything you need. CTV Morning Live. Weekdays 6 to 9.
Welcome back. Let's check in and see what we can expect for the forecast for the rest of this short work week for many. Cooler than what the weekend was for us in many parts of southern Saskatchewan anyway. Warmed up to 19 degrees in Regina, currently sitting at 18 with the winds just under 25 kilometers an hour. Winds won't be bad for tomorrow, but getting into Thursday, we're going to see some very high wind gusts, and I'll talk about that heading into our 7-day forecast. For now, though, this is what we have been dealing with on the radar satellite last couple of hours. Again, the frost warning still in effect for parts of eastern Saskatchewan, and those are going to remain there as we head into this evening, and it is a frost advisory. Sorry, not a watch or warning there. Frost advisory. For tonight, we won't really see much in terms of active weather. The rain that is arriving, coming from the north, won't make its way into Saskatchewan until we get into about late afternoon tomorrow. You can see around the Laloche area by late afternoon tomorrow, a little bit of storm cells in that area as well. But when it gets into southern Saskatchewan, primarily it's going to stay along the eastern border. They're affecting areas like Hudson Bay, not Humboldt, Hudson Bay. Yorkton could see some rain. It looks like it's a huge system, could be bringing lots of rain, but once that system's completely cleared out of the area, it's not looking like we're going to see a lot in terms of rainfall totals, and I'll show you that coming up. But by the time we get into Thursday evening, we'll be left with mostly cloudy conditions, possibly some scattered precipitation still along the parkland area, but you can see in the southwest we'll be seeing mostly clear conditions as well. Rainfall totals for that area, Yorkton could see about 4 millimeters of rain. Hudson Bay could see up to about 8 millimeters of rain. So not a whole lot expected as that system continues to clear out. And this is what our temperatures are looking like as we head into tonight and into tomorrow. So further north, we're going to see those temperatures closer to average. 8 degrees for Laloche, 7 for Lloydminster. Cooler for Prince Albert tonight, 2 degrees, warming up to 17 as their daytime high. 22 degrees for North Battleford, which is within average range. 18 tomorrow for Saskatoon, 15 and mostly cloudy for Yorkton tomorrow. 2 degrees tonight is their expected low. Much warmer for Maple Creek, 26 degrees there, 22 for Swift Current tomorrow, and 20 in Moose Jaw, dipping to 3 degrees tonight, mostly cloudy in the southeast. Similar story for tonight, 3 degrees for Weyburn and Assiniboia, and warming up to 20 for Assiniboia and 17 for Weyburn and Estevan. Estevan could expect to see some scattered showers tonight with an expected low of about 5 degrees. Tonight here in Regina, dipping to 3 degrees, and expect that to stick around as you head into your early morning tomorrow as well. And that probably won't start to warm up until about 8 or 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. So cooler night and cooler morning tomorrow, only warming up to about 17 degrees. Much calmer winds, like I said, up to about 5 to 15 kilometers an hour, and that'll change as we take a look at this 7-day forecast for you. So 17 and a mix of sun and cloud tomorrow. Mix of sun and cloud Thursday, 13 degrees. Winds anywhere between 50 to 75 kilometers an hour. Could actually even get closer to 80 kilometer an hour winds. So something to keep in mind for Thursday. Friday, sunshine and 16, 19 on Saturday, and then we'll see those temperatures get back into that seasonal range. 23 and mostly sunny for Sunday, and then Monday, mostly sunny, 23 and 23 Tuesday, but also just wanted to point out it's getting really cool over the next couple of nights, so probably could see some more frost advisories arrive as we get into near the end of this week. Just to keep in mind again, because I know I have a lot of friends that do have their gardens still. They're not done picking all their vegetables and all that good stuff. So they were the ones that weren't happy when I posted that there was a frost advisory out.
Right, they got to protect their garden for sure when it comes down that low. So
and crops.
And crops too. Yeah. It's been a week.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, thanks, Sabine.
You bet.
Although the weather was perfect this past weekend, if you like heat, for the 18th annual Labor Day Show and Shine, the event was a spectacle of some of the finest automobiles that the Queen City has to offer. Jacob Carr was at the event and talked to a few of Regina's avid car collectors.
With some old tunes filling the air and the sun beaming down, it was the perfect day for the annual show and shine. Hundreds of cars were on display of various years, makes, and models, and that included Darren Beasley's 1971 Boss 351 Mustang.
I've never been without a Mustang since I was 16. I currently have 3. I'm working on a deal to get a couple more, and I've had as many as 8 at one time, and they're just, I think, in my mind, a fantastic car. I love looking at them, I love talking about them, I love thinking about them.
This edition of the Mustang is unique in that it was only made in 1971, and only 1,806 of them were assembled. Fred Taylor, on the other hand, likes his cars a bit older, particularly from the 1950s and 60s, including his 1964 Mercury Marauder.
My dad had a garage where he had repair bays, served gas. I'd have to pump gas. I was always around cars. Got to love them all, but the 50s and 60s two-door hardtops always stuck out in my mind.
While Beasley enjoys Mustangs and Taylor likes hardtops, there really was something for every taste at the Show and Shine, with 456 vehicles on display.
It doesn't matter what brand. I like them all. I mean, Mustangs are my passion, but I like everything. You know, some people are very brand-oriented. Well, I am to a degree, but they made a lot of other great cars, too. And here today, there's lots of nice cars here, and everybody's proud of their car, which is great.
And for Taylor, who told CTV News he would always go to car shows before he became a collector, attending the event is more about perusing all of the unique models than showing off his own ride.
And so I mainly come out with this car for people who would be happy to see it. I don't even stick around the car very long. I go look at other ones because I know what it meant to me when I didn't have a car, and you get to see these old girls.
All proceeds from the event this year went towards supporting the Regina Food Bank. Jacob Carr, CTV News, Regina.
Still ahead, Tavon Campbell's interception on a 2-point conversion capped a thrilling Labor Day classic for the Riders.
Wardrobe consideration in part by Colin O'Brien Men's Shop.
There is just something about Labor Day which has produced great moments between the Saskatchewan Roughriders and Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Brett Lother's walk-off field goal in 2019, Kerry Joseph's touchdown run in 2007, and of course the Rocky Butler show in 2002. And the 60th rendition did not disappoint, giving Rider fans yet another finish which will be remembered for a long time. Donovan Mace has more.
For yet another year, the Labor Day Classic lives up to its name, going down to the wire.
Just like a year ago. It's the other way around this time. The Bombers trying to tie it.
And this chapter written by Tavon Campbell. Picking off Bombers QB Zach Collaros on a 2-point convert attempt, which may have tied the game with 30 seconds to go.
I just knew I had to jump. I knew it was coming, so just had to jump and make the play.
The former University of Regina Ram adding his name to a long list of memorable Labor Day finishes, sealing a Riders 34-30 win.
Man, it was everything, man. You just go out there in front of the fans, and really it's the last play that really mattered. And to make that play, it was great.
It ended up, being a big deal that TC returned it for 2 points, because just in case they got the onside, it would have, they would have had to score a touchdown. I'm very fortunate and happy to be out on the winning side of this one this year.
Now, while players say it is just another regular season game on the schedule, to fans, Labor Day is so much more. Along with a historic game, a historic crowd. 34,243, the largest at New Mosaic Stadium since it opened in 2017.
Labor Day. Most times, it's just kind of like white noise and you're dialed in. Not tonight. It was unbelievably loud.
When you just kind of took a deep breath and kind of just looked around Mosaic and looked at all of the fans, it was kind of just one of those pinching moments. I get to be the guy in the arena this week, and I never take that for granted.
With the win, the Riders' record improves to 9-2 on the season, just the second time in franchise history the team has hit that mark through 11 games. Donovan Mace, CTV News, Regina.
Anderson finishes it off.
And a shout out because before the Labor Day Classic between the Riders and Bombers, Rider Fan Day was held at Mosaic Stadium. The free event saw autographs from Rider players along with a number of kid-friendly activities like face painting, inflatables, and of course, photo opportunities. Coming up, Regina police need your help to catch a convenience store thief.
Let's take a look at your rural forecast heading into tomorrow. It's really going to be cool for many parts of the province, but there still are some on the western part of the province where we're going to see those temperatures right within that average range, if not a couple degrees warmer, like Lloydminster and Kindersley. 24 degrees is the expected daytime high there. 20 for Outlook, 21 for Meadow Lake, and then over on the eastern parts there, Hudson Bay, 14 degrees, mostly cloudy, 16 for Melfort, mostly cloudy, 15 and mostly cloudy for Wynyard. And if we get closer to the southern border, temperatures not really that much warmer, except for the southwest again. Leader, Maple Creek, 26 degrees, 22 for East End Cypress and for Rosetown. And then over in the southeast, 15 degrees, a mix of sun and cloud for Broadview and for Carlisle, 14 and mostly cloudy for Kenora, and 17 for Lumsden and Pilot Butte. If we take a closer look at, okay, now, is it Leroy or Leroy? Because I wanted to make sure I spelt it correctly as it is on the town website. I would please welcome anyone to correct me on the pronunciation. We had a debate on what it is. I think it's Leroy, or it could be Leroy. Regardless, 14 degrees tomorrow, a mix of sun and cloud for our friends in Leroy. And again, please let me know if I'm pronouncing that right, and I will do it better tomorrow.
The incident happened on July the 24th, 2025, just before 9 o'clock in the evening at a convenience store on the 3500 block of 5th Avenue. The store was robbed at knife point. The suspect was able to get away on foot with around $300. Here are a few pictures of the suspect, what he was wearing at the time of the robbery.
I'm Belton Johnson, board member with Regina Crime Stoppers. Did you know Crime Stoppers would pay up to $2,000 cash rewards for information on this or any other serious crime in Regina? Callers do not have to identify themselves. Calls are not traced or recorded. In Regina, Saskatchewan, and Canada, call Crime Stoppers at 1-800-222-TIPS. That's 1-800-222-8477. You can also access our website at www.reginacrimestoppers.ca. Remember, our community suffers when you remain silent. Please report crime.
Crime Stoppers is brought to you by Leak Audiology, helping you live well with better hearing.
The Saskatchewan government will intervene in a dispute that has left a rural town council unable to function. It follows a decision in Francis that resulted in the mayor and some councillors stepping aside. Wayne Mantika has more.
A summer storm split more than a tree on Main Street in Francis. It has split the town council as well.
There's the stump. This is the tree. You can see where it's split right here. It split over and fell that way.
The local councillor and the mayor cleared away the mess and billed the town for the work.
That the town councilmen had to clear this tree. It was an emergency. We're self-sufficient out here, and we can't really rely on people to come out and rescue us. So this was decided that we would do this.
It came to $25 an hour, according to the councillor. However, other councillors say that breached the rules set out in the Municipal Act.
Councillors are not supposed to work for the town and be paid. If it's something that needs to be done like urgently, and we don't have anybody in town trained for this task, a councillor, if he's the only one or she's the only one that is trained to do that, then they can do it.
4 of the 7 members of council have either been asked to step aside or have quit.
It was a setup as far as I'm concerned, and that's fine. I don't want to be on council here anymore.
The provincial government will make 2 temporary appointments to council so work can continue until a by-election is held. Wayne Mantika, CTV News, Francis.
A taste of the Philippines took over Vic Square on the weekend for the second year in a row. This year marked the 6th year since 2018. The festival's been held. Last year, it saw about 10 to 12,000 people visit over the span of 2 days. Dozens of Filipino foods available along with performances.
During the first days of the Philippines, there are lots of people too, but compared now, we're getting bigger and bigger each year. Oh, they were so happy and they were so glad that they came and be part of this event because, like, with the food, they have their own favorites. We have the famous ones like our version of stir-fried noodles, which is called pancit, our pork barbecue or the pork skewers. Of course, who would ever forget lumpia?
For the Taste of the Philippines shirt, it usually change colors every year, but this year, pink shirts worn by volunteers to honor someone that is currently in a battle with breast cancer. And for the first time in Regina history, Reggae Fest was underway at Victoria Park on the weekend. The event included performances from local reggae artists, as well as dance performances, Caribbean and African cuisine, and cultural items. A group of around 10 organizers made sure that Reggae Fest is here to stay. Though reggae is somewhat new to Regina popularity-wise, organizers hope that the festival can be used to bring community together. All right, let's take a look at the stock markets. The TSX up 51 points today, while the Dow Jones a decent drop, down 249 points. The Canadian dollar, it went down a little more than 1/10 cent to 72.58 cents US. Commodity front, gold up decent, $57.09. West Texas Intermediate crude up $1.54, while Western Canadian Select crude was down 61 cents. And gas in Regina commonly found for $1.43.9 per liter.
One of the biggest food companies in the world is downsizing. Kraft Heinz is splitting in two, only a decade after merging. The company says the complexity of its structure as one massive enterprise makes it hard to prioritize. Heinz products like ketchup and Kraft mac and cheese will be under a new company, Kraft Singles and Oscar Mayer under another. Nestle has fired its CEO after only a year on the job. The company alleges Laurent Flex was having a secret relationship with a subordinate. That's a breach of Nestle's code of conduct. Tech stocks tumbled today. Nvidia, Microsoft, Apple, and Alphabet all moved down during the trading day. September is typically a volatile month on the markets as investors move to reset their goals. Those are your business headlines. I'm Marella Fernandez.
All right, what's coming up tonight after the show? How about some big bangs? High potential at 8 o'clock, followed by The Amazing Race Canada. Another big bang. And then E-Talk. And then your news, of course. Someone in the U.S. could be holding a lottery ticket that's worth, I don't know, an estimated $1.3 billion, Sabine. $1.3 billion.
That's right, Lee. No one has matched all 6 numbers in the Powerball draw since May 31st. As a result, the jackpot has now reached the 5th largest prize in the game's history, and the odds of getting all the right numbers are 1 in 292.2 million. Wow. Payments for a jackpot would be spread over 30 years, or the winner can choose an immediate lump sum, which now stands at $589 million. Next draw tomorrow night.
Would you take the lump sum, or would you overtime?
I would take it over time, I think. Would you take the lump sum?
Just give it to me now. I got stuff to do.
Who knows what could happen over the next 30 years. Anyways, here in Canada, the Northern Lights could be visible across much of the country.
Tonight, yeah. Hopefully here. Hopefully.
Well, we got a little bit of cloud cover, but maybe?
Yeah, usually Aurora Borealis, greenish hue, but a NASA astronaut capturing kind of a crimson line one. Cool. Red auroras only happen 2 or 3 times during a 6-month mission to the International Space Station, and tonight there is a high probability of aurora activity, especially over western and northern parts of Canada. Dark conditions, uninterrupted view of the northern horizon. The lights could also be visible from southern Ontario, so there could be a bunch of things. So yeah, that's pretty cool too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shout out to Zoe, our prompter operator.
Thanks, Zoe.